6-2 on aggregate. Well, let's go back to the studio and we can join Chris.
Yes, thank you, Ali. Thank you, Kit. I don't know if you noticed the song they were playing over the tannoy in the Etihad Stadium, JMO?
De La Soul, 3 feet high and rising.
No. 3, that's the magic number.
Is the other song on that album.
Yeah, but, OK, right, fine. So 3. 3's all that counts. And it's an 8th game of the season. Is it 8, is that right, in the Champions League, where City have now scored 3 in every game, Steph?
Yeah, we kind of predicted that, didn't we?
Well, you
Hence
did.
my score prediction.
You don't want any more, do you?
No. Well, I mean, I don't mind us scoring a few more. It's entertaining for us, isn't it, to watch a few more goals?
Certainly is. So, well, that last goal there has, I think, completely shifted the dynamic of our feeling at this half-time break, but also of the tie. It felt like Copenhagen it was already out of their reach at the start of the game, JMO, but at 2-1, all right, maybe they're still behind on aggregate, but now 3-1, it feels like Man City have got the job done. Well,
I think the key thing here, and from what I thought was happening with that selection in essence, was this was about Erling Haaland scoring a goal, or at least 1 or 2 potentially, with Harry Kane and Mbappe, I think it is, on 6 goals in the Champions League at the moment. The fact that City scored 2 early goals and neither of them were Erling Haaland. A's.
Go on, you did this off there.
Alvarez and Haaland. Depending on how you pronounce it, sir.
You having that, Steve?
Nope. I wasn't having it the first time he said it, to be quite, so not the second time.
Tried the joke off there, did it on air, and it had the same reaction both times. So he's got his goal. Does Haaland stay for you?
I think he'll want to stay. Whether the manager has different plans, I mean, the manager might just think, listen, you've got one, come off now. But I would have thought he would want to stay on because there was one ball in that first half. I think he would have gotten onto it, but he just has that little slip. I think defensively, as far as Copenhagen's concerned, the goal that Haaland scored, he can get more chances.
Does he even need to ask him the question? I know what you want.
Well, yeah, but I think if... known strikers, as we all know strikers, they just love scoring goals. And I think if they've got an opportunity to boost their tally, they'll want to stay on. Yeah,
so let's go through it in goal order. 1-0 came up really quick. It was a really well-taken goal from a defender in Manuel Akanji on the volley. Yeah, I think, obviously, Alvarez, we know he's got quality from them set pieces and outswing corner, and I don't think we expected that finish here from... it kind of just went from there, really. Yeah, I have to ask you about the second goal, JMO, because it was a bit of a goalkeeper howler. Not that you made goalkeeper howlers, but you are the expert goalkeeper.
Yeah, thank you. Well phrased. I think what's done the keeper is Alvarez. I mean, if we go back to free kicks that Alvarez takes for City, from that position, he usually shoots. And I think there's expecting the shot because there was no cue for the shot.
It's a bad error, though, isn't it?
It is, and in the context of the tie as well, you know, a 1-0 early goal, similar to as we saw on the weekend, that doesn't mean you're definitely going to win the game. At 2-0 with 2 early goals against City, that's kind of the game done. So, yeah, it's not good goalkeeping. So the goalkeeper is Kamil Grabara, and he wears a mask. At least he's got somewhere to hide behind after that mistake. They scored a really good goal themselves, though, Copenhagen, on the break. A player that we're familiar with, as we heard Ali and Kit in commentary. El Yunusi played for Celtic, played for Southampton. Didn't see him do that when he played for them too often. Bursting run from midfield, lovely little 1-2 and a great finish.
It is. I think, you know, he is coming an awful long way without nobody kind of engaging him. I think Diaz as well is kind of pointing out, I think it's just sort of watch the runner. Therefore, he knows he's covered. So, therefore, I think he can maybe come out earlier and try. Brought into his game this season is that range of passing, and obviously when you get Haaland in them situations, he's so strong and he knows where the net is. And it was a great finish, even though it maybe took a little bit of a deflection. To be able to create that opportunity for himself, he's done really well.
We've got the stats up on the screen behind us just there, Steph. Manchester City obviously 3-1 up on the night, 6-2 on aggregate. They've dominated the ball 2-1, 3-1 attempts on target. And look down at the passes completed, 4 from the bottom, 385 with a 93% completion, more than double what Copenhagen have completed themselves. There was a stat before the game, wasn't there, JMO, about 5,000?
Yeah, well, I think we have to congratulate Copenhagen. They've gone over the 1,000 passes, attempted passes in the Champions League this year.
For the season, and City have got?
Now on 6,000.
OK, good.
It's close. It's
levels, though, right? It's like the sport of boxing. There's levels to this game, and Manchester City are operating at a much higher level, and at 6-2, I think you'd have to feel that they're well on the way to the quarter-final for a 7th successive season. Now, it's not the only big game that Manchester City have got this week. Steph Houghton was training late this evening, shuffling across from the training base just over there, walking in like the Tin Man. But she's all right now. And it's a big game tomorrow because it's Chelsea in the Continental Cup, and it's a semi-final.
We've kind of gone under the radar a little bit this season. We've played some big games, we've had some big moments, we've put in some really top performances.
Urging her to shoot, and she does!
We've tried to play our game as much as we possibly can.
Time since then, and we didn't win it last season, so I think we know that we need to win silverware this season, but it's going to be tough to play against Chelsea. We know how good they are, but the run of form that we're on and the players that we have, I really do back us, and especially at home.
I think I know what you'll answer this question, something along the lines of, it's all about Chelsea, we're not looking beyond it, but Arsenal are 4-0 up against Aston Villa in the other semi-final.
Yeah, hopefully we win tomorrow and then we'll see them in the final.
One game at a time, that's the answer that we wanted. So don't forget, you can join Nat and Nadem and Karen Bardsley tomorrow night for Matchday Live, the Conte Cup semi-final, Manchester City against Chelsea. Really looking forward to that. OK, right, so final thoughts. I think almost some credit to Copenhagen that they've managed to put together 148 passes. There was a spell in that first.
Just looking at another stat as well, I think distance covered was quite close. And considering how much of the ball City had, it was surprising it was quite close, but it just goes to show the movement of the City players, even when they are in possession, to make themselves available, kind of shone through for me. But yeah, listen, I think for the second half, for the two teams, they'll want to make sure they don't concede another one. They'll think if we can nick another one, I think it's done and dusted. But it shows a little bit more respectability for them. But I think, as I said, City and Haaland, be interesting to see what happens. He'll be wanting more goals, City be wanting more goals, and can they make it more comfortable than it already is?
Yeah, so 7 changes were made coming into this game. There's still a couple of key senior players in the team. Ederson's playing, obviously. He'll probably play 90 minutes, but you've got Rodri in there, who you would imagine will play against Liverpool at the weekend. Haaland, we know, will definitely play against Liverpool at the weekend. How many minutes do you think they get?
Well, I think, and again, going back to your question right at the beginning, the fact that they've scored the 3rd goal now means that Pep is in control of the tie. And it just, this weird thing, and I've done the homework on it, Pep does not like substitutions unless he's in control of the game, generally speaking. Well, he is now in control with the score and the way they're playing. I think that if Haaland doesn't come out half, it's the other thing that's interesting, because we were talking about it before, Oscar Bob normally plays out wide, doesn't he? And he's been playing more central with Alvarez in a position that Doku would occupy. So I think Alvarez could come off if Pep wants to use him against Liverpool, push Oscar Bob out to the left-hand side.
You mentioned Oscar Bob. We've been asking you for your questions on WhatsApp tonight. We'll put them straight to the team. Tommy's got in touch and says it's great to see the academy prospects. We've got Oscar Bob, Rico Lewis, both getting game time in big Champions League games. How much have they improved this season, Steph?
Yeah, massively, and I think that comes with experience and not even just game time. I think just being a part of a first-team squad, what we have here in terms of the players that they have, I'm sure they're learning every day, and knowing them when they were in the academy, the type of boys that they were, they always want to just improve as much as they possibly can, and they'll stay humble. That's what type of lads they are, but I don't think that group would let them be anything else, and I think that's what's so special about the first team here, is that there's no one that's the big star. It's everybody's kind of like, we work to the next game and we're all kind of treated equally, and it's great for the academy to be able to have homegrown players that are coming through and have worked so hard, and it's credit to all the coaches but also to the boys themselves.
There's a couple more youngsters on the bench as well. We may get to see them. Question from Darren has come in. I'll ask both of you. Do you think this City team are capable of doubling down back-to-back Champions League wins?
Of course, yeah. Yeah, of course, because they've had the experience of doing it now. I think that was always going to be the issue, wasn't getting the first one over the line. Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich, yeah. There's no one there that overly should scare them.
Would you go along with that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they've been there now, they've seen it and they've done it. That was always the kind of stick that was kind of, they were getting hit with, or they haven't done it, they haven't sort of crossed the finish line and stuff like that. They have done it now. And I think that team, when they're playing the way that they can play, should fear absolutely nobody. I don't think they do. And I think any other team that's going to be in the next round will not want to play against Manchester City. Yeah,
so the other game tonight, Real Madrid 0-0 with RB Leipzig. I think it's 1-0 Madrid from the first leg in that one. And then a final question. I'll throw this to you because you are preparing for a big knockout game, an important knockout game. This is Bob, not Oscar. He's got in touch. I don't think he's got his phone in the changing room. How would the panel prepare for a high-pressure knockout game like tonight, like tomorrow in the Conte Cup?
Well, be on Matchday Live, obviously.
Yeah. You were drinking your prepared nutritionist, whatever it was, yogurt?
Eat healthy, get a good night's sleep. But I think we were speaking about before, there's so many big games coming around the corner. I think it's important that you just don't change your routine. I think it's just important to switch off a little bit from football. I mean, I watch loads of football anyway, but like not necessarily the women's football. I would just kind of go home, chill, and I'm sure all the girls are doing the same, hopefully watching City win tonight, I'm sure, and then have a relaxed morning in the morning ahead of the game.
Great stuff. Thank you. And keep those questions coming in. We've got a show post-match as well, so do get in touch on the WhatsApp. You can find it through the City Live app as well. We can see the players coming out. I'm just trying to have a quick look to see if there's any obvious changes, and I can't see any there. So I'll tell you what, instead of me just feeling in the dark, why don't we hand to our commentary team, Ali Mann and Kit Simons. Take it away, guys.
Well, thank you, Chris. Welcome back to the Etihad Stadium. Some fantastic stats, if you like them, from that first half. The fact that City have scored 3 goals has already created a little bit of history, because they were already the first team ever in Champions League / European Cup to score at least 3 in 7 games in a row. Of course, they're now the first team to do it in 8 games in a row. And on top of that, they've now become the first team in European Cup / Champions League history to score at least 3 goals in